I'm Austin, and today we have some epic pro-revenge stories. No, seriously, they're epic. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on so you don't miss out on the daily videos. Let's dive right on in. Entitled Neighbor Complains About Our Noise, Ends Up Losing $8,000, posted by Brightglaive. Sometime around 2002, my wife and I moved into an 1,100 square foot condominium with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. We were very fortunate to get this condominium as a second owner, and we paid only $114,000, which was $6,000 more than the original price. Our condo was on the 3rd floor, and all the rooms were carpeted throughout the condo, with only one small 4x4 square of linoleum inside the front door to the outside breezeway. This will become important later, and yes, even the bathrooms, kitchen, and dining room were carpeted. The front door opened to a large open space with vaulted ceilings, with the great room to the left and the dining room and the kitchen to the right. The kitchen area was separated from the great room with a wall that had a cutout over the kitchen sink, and we had a long hallway directly going out of the great room to all the bedrooms and straight in front of the front door. We got to know some of the neighbors and got along well with most of them. The neighbors directly below us were a young couple that were attending university and were nice and cordial with us. Shortly after they graduated, they rented out their condo to her brother and his college friends. The brother was a decent guy and we mostly had no problems, except for one of his birthdays, where their music and boisterous conversations and happy birthdays and so on kept us up until 4:30 a.m. in the morning. My wife and I returned the favor by blasting our music the very next morning at 8 a.m. But we talked a couple of weeks later and all had a laugh about it and never had any real problems after that. Between 2004 and 2006, we changed all the flooring in the kitchen and the dining room to ceramic tile, including the area in front of the front door, to avoid having to pay for carpet cleaning in the dining or kitchen area due to spills or our young daughter throwing food on the floor from her high chair. In 2007, our cordial neighbors sold their condo to an older newlywed couple, which were late 20s to early 30s. Now, if anyone has lived in between a 1st and 3rd floor condo or apartment, you will know that it is the worst place to be if you expect silence. With kids or music, you will always have some noise that filters through the floor or the ceiling. I don't know what they were thinking or expecting when they moved in there. I was blissfully unaware that the condo had been sold until one day about a month later I brought home a powered subwoofer and hooked it up to my home theater sound system around 6 p.m. I promptly put on an action flick with some big explosions and sat down to enjoy the new and improved immersive sound. After a little bit of gunfire and 2 explosions, I hear the doorbell. Ding dong. I get up and immediately hear ding dong again. I walk the 5 feet to my front door and open it to see my entitled neighbor, I'll call her Karen, standing on my doorstep. Hi, can I help you? The very agitated Karen replied, "My husband and I are trying to enjoy a quiet and peaceful dinner. Can you please turn down whatever show you're watching? We can hear everything that's going on." Sure, sorry about that. She turned around and walked away. I closed the door, turned the subwoofer down a ways and the main volume down a bit, and thought nothing of it. Shortly after the next round of gunfire and explosions, I hear the ding dong and then some rapid fire knocking at my door. I paused my movie and then I opened the door to see Karen again. Hi, what can I do for you? We can still hear everything from your show. You need to turn it down now. At this point, I was a little fed up with her crap and decided to call her on it. You say that you can hear everything. Can you give me some of the last dialogue you heard? I don't know. I just know that you're watching the YouTuber show. She was totally wrong. No, I'm actually watching the Austin movie, and here are the last 3 lines of dialogue. And I gave her those lines. It seems you can't hear my movie as well as you're claiming. Karen, with blazing eyes and red in the face, says, "I don't care, it's too loud, you need to turn it down." Actually, the noise ordinance says that I don't have to turn it down until 10 p.m. Karen, getting huffy, replies, "Fine, I guess my husband and I will have to go out to eat to get some peace and quiet." Me, in my most cheerful voice and waving, "Have a good night." I then turned my subwoofer up a bit and the main volume back up to its previous level and enjoyed the rest of my movie. The neighbors did end up going out that night for dinner or whatever. At our next HOA meeting, Karen stands up and complains long and loud about the noise, how she can hear kids jumping on the carpeted floor, and we had a 4-year-old, and crying, which we did have a new baby, and hear us walking up and down our hallway, and hear our music and movies and TV shows, and how the Hispanic neighbors on the first floor play their music on Saturday mornings so loud that they can't sleep in, and they argue so loud that they can hear every word and blah 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 ad nauseum. This went on for 6 months. Every time she complained, the HOA told her, if it's between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 p.m., we can do nothing. If it's after 10 p.m. and before 8 a.m., you can call the police. And then the HOA would send out a letter by U.S. mail asking everyone to be cognizant of their neighbors and laying out the local city noise ordinance. I finally stopped attending the HOA meetings after month 3 of the same bullcrap. She never failed to visit at least once or twice in the week after these notices, and twice she taped them to my door. I also learned during this time that they were members of our church and had actually been assigned to visit us each month, and they never did. Cue the ProRevenge. Around the 6 or 7 month mark of her constant complaints and harassment, and even a couple visits from some very apologetic police officers after 11 p.m. at night, and they said they could hear nothing outside of my condo door, we decided to upgrade our flooring. We knew this would inflame our entitled neighbor, but we didn't care as we were tired of the constant stream of complaints from them. We chose to extend the entry tile all the way from the front door down the long hallway to the master bedroom door, and we wanted to tile the bathrooms as well. We also went with a light coffee-colored bamboo hardwood in our great room. So, demolition first. We tore out the carpet and tack strips and pried the base molding trim off the walls. As I'm removing the last of the nails from the walls and subfloor, which is about noon on a Saturday, wouldn't you know it, bang, bang, bang from the front door. Yes. Can you keep it down? We're trying to have a pampered chef party. Sure. I promptly finished pulling or driving in nails and then proceeded to bang my hammer all over the subflooring like I was driving loads of new nails for the next hour, and made sure to turn on my stereo to the local hard rock station and turn it up for the next 4 hours. FYI, the first floor neighbors were already blaring some great mariachi music. They did this every Saturday and Sunday as they cleaned their condo from top to bottom. We then rented a hardwood floor nailer that, in addition to compressor noise and to loudly driving a nail into the flooring and subfloor, also had to be struck with a large dead blow hammer. Bang, bang, bang. It took us 2 to 3 days to install the coffee-colored bamboo hardwood flooring in the great room, and we were sure it was driving Karen absolutely batty. We ended up installing an awesome tile inlay down the hall, had tile running from the front door to the master bedroom door along the great room side of the divider wall, tile in the dining room, kitchen, and both bathrooms. We got the base molding on, more nail gun and compressor fun, and caulked. The new floors looked amazing, and the bonus was, every time a hard shoe, like my daughter's favorite Sunday shoes that she wore everywhere, every day, or high heel, which my wife chose to learn how to do everything in 4 to 6 inch stilettos during this time, struck the floor, it was like the impact echoed through our perfect floors. All this was due to our neighbor complaining. It was also in preparation to sell our condo, as we had grown out of it by this time. We sold it within 1 month of listing at $160,000. During closing, the real estate agent for the new owners told us that the floors absolutely sold the place. We also sold at the very top of the real estate boom right before the real estate market crashed. We later learned from some of our neighbors that within 9 months of our selling our condo, the second floor entitled neighbors moved out and sold their condo for $30,000 less than we had, and also took about an $8,000 loss, and sent a letter of complaint to the HOA stating that their condo was unlivable because of the noise from our incredible floors. Why? Can someone please answer this question? Why can't Karen never find the proper way to do things? She's always like blah 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 and everything. It just never solves it the right way. So dang it, Karen, if you're ever listening to this, stop please, don't do that. Way to go, OP. Neighbors steal our dog, we take their kids, posted by Philip Hamilton 19. This happened when I was around 12 or 13, so the details might be a little skewed. Most of my childhood, the house right next to ours had been condemned and abandoned. The property owners were willing to sell the land for $200. That's how bad it was. My family didn't buy it because the land tax in our area is high because we are a school of choice. Eventually, someone bought it and threw a manufactured home on it to replace the condemned home. Soon, a nice old man moved in next door, and we didn't pay close attention because he kept to himself. That was until his daughter moved in with him. Soon, our quiet little neighborhood turned into an episode of White Trash in Trouble. The daughter would fight with her spouse about every little thing and kept my family, along with our neighbors, up half the night. Their kids were the worst part of it all. We never knew how many kids lived in that house because so many different children and adults were in and out of there all the time. Me and my siblings tried to become friends with them because there are not too many kids our age in the town. We ended up being more of their babysitters than just a friendly neighborhood kid. They would come over to our house, and each of my siblings had a group of kids, 3 to 4 each, to watch over. These kids would walk in uninvited into our house while we would play with their sibling in the yard, then steal toys and games from our rooms. Honestly, they stole stuff from all over our house, but this was the main areas. They would either take it for themselves or throw it in our backyard river. They did that a lot if we made them mad for taking back our stuff. They would constantly run in and out of our house, even if no one was with them. They would steal all of the fruit in the basket my mom left out for us. My mom didn't kick them out immediately because she never wanted to deny a kid food if they need it. My mom confronted the parents about their behavior, and their 3-year-old son called her a witch. The parents refused to apologize for their behavior, saying stuff like, "If you loved it so much, you wouldn't have let them take it," or "Don't parent my kid." One thing they would specifically do with me is they pulled on my hair all the time. I'm a tomboy, and they would just call me a boy in a wig because girls can't play with skateboards, girls can't play with ninja action figures, or any other gender stereotype. They would constantly bombard me because they truly didn't know girls were allowed to play with anything they wanted. One of their heavier children stole my skateboard and jumped on it, breaking it in half. Similar to that So No Head vine. Then, they said that I shouldn't have been playing with one anyway. There are plenty more examples, but I think you get the point. The neighbors decided that, because our house was nicer, that they had permission to run an electrical line from our backyard plugs to their house, which in itself is a bad thing, but they decided to run off our electric bill to triple the cost of our original. We were lower middle class and below the poverty level, so we couldn't afford that kind of bill. The rule in our house is, if you're not using it, it is turned off. That's why my parents were awfully surprised to see an $800 electric bill. Eventually, a person from our electric company came out to our house to see what was happening. They found an extension cord running to their house. The electrician simply unplugged it and then warned the neighbors of the legal reasons why they can't do that. Then said that that should be the end of that problem. My mom, politely but sternly, went to the neighbors and told them that this was not okay. The neighbor had a small adult tantrum about it and cussed my mom out, but eventually came back into her home. My mom was obviously not pleased with their behavior, but tried not to escalate the situation any further. Our neighbors tried 1 or 2 more times to run the line from our house to theirs. They would move it at night so we wouldn't see them move it. Each time when we unplugged it, they would cuss us out and send their kids over to destroy something else in our home. Eventually, Mom straight up told them that if they or theirs would come on our property again, she would call the police and press charges. We could still be friends with their kids, but they weren't allowed on our land. They decided that because we won't let them use our electricity, that the next best option was to steal our dog from the backyard and claim that our dog attacked her kids, even though our dog was harmless and cowers at everything due to the bad owners before us. I'm guessing because our dog liked to rip her tags off a lot that the neighbors said that she was a stray, that attacked them. The pound came and took our puppo away. By the time my brothers and I got home, she was already gone. We assumed that she just ran off to our grandmothers who lived down the street, She would do this often because my grandma spoils her. When my parents came home, they about lost it, learning that our dog was missing. We obviously looked for her, but couldn't find her. After 2 days, we found her at the dog pound. The officer said it was obvious that our dog didn't hurt their kids, but they still had to take her in for an evaluation. My parents had spent $200 to get her out. The pound told us why the dog was taken, and my mom said enough was enough. Now, the revenge. When my mom got home, she sent my little brother over to their house to play with their kids. He was still friends with some of them at the time. My brother became a little spy that day. His job was to look around their house and report anything that could be suspicious. We learned from him that they were sending 3 kids to a twin bed. The entire house was cramped and dirty. The old man that lived there was hardly home because he couldn't stand his adult daughter that lived there, but he didn't want to evict her from the home and leave his grandkids homeless. All around, the kids were being neglected. With the information my brother gathered, my mom called CPS, Child Protective Services, on the home. Within the month, all of the children, minus one, who the old man cared for, were removed from the home. While I agree the foster system is bad, it was definitely better than what they were going through in that house. The mother of the children started to fight with the old man, her father, on everything. Because her kids were no longer there as a distraction, the old man was to be her next victim. The old man eventually was fed up with her and kicked her out of the home. All that was left in the home was the old man and the grandson he was fostering. They are both very kind and amazing neighbors. Oh man, OP gets a gold star for me. Not only did they get pro-revenge against this neighbor, they got the kids a better life from the crappy place and condition that they were subjected to. Way to go, OP. Be sure to comment the secret phrase, meddling kids, below, because they would have gotten away with it if it hadn't been for those meddling kids. My name's Austin, check out another video here, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.